Good morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be all about the things they don't tell you about Australia when you're moving there. Now, one of the big surprises for me was the fact that yes, I knew there was going to be winters here and I knew it would get cold, but I didn't realize that I was going to need my ski gear. Okay, so that's a little bit of an exaggeration. You don't exactly need your ski gear, but it does get cold and you will need a coat in certain parts of Australia. It's not everywhere. You know, Australia is a massive country and there are a lot of different climates basically around this massive island. So if you take in, for example, that Australia is probably about the same size as Europe. I think you can fit the whole of Europe into Australia. So yeah, you're going to have one part of Australia that's going to be like the UK, say, and another part that's going to be like Turkey or somewhere nice in the Mediterranean, where it's going to be hot most of the time. I tended to have chose a place that has kind of similar seasons to the UK, I guess. It has a winter, kind of an autumn, and a summer. And the summers are ridiculously hot, and the winters seem to be reasonably cold. It's actually ice, and as you can see, there's actually steam coming out from my breath this morning. There was ice on the grass when I woke up. So yeah, it does get cold, just not quite as cold as the UK. Now, this is one thing that you do need to take into consideration when moving to Australia, is what part of the country you are going to move to. Because, for example, where we are over in the southwest, we get a lot of forest fires. So that's a danger that you need to take into consideration. There's also another thing that will put your house insurance up. Be moving over east, say like the Brisbane area, or pretty much most of the east, I would suppose, is you're going to have things like floods. It's going to be like more tropical weather as well, especially if you go up further north, Brisbane area. So these are all things that you do need to take into consideration. Yeah, it's nice to live in a tropical climate, but with a tropical climate does come the other risks like flooding, storms, etc., and so on, and also the different types of animals. Which leads us nicely into the next segment: animals. Are they really as bad as people make out? Whenever you talk about moving to Australia, especially in the UK, people will say to you, oh, I couldn't possibly move to the Australia. There's too many critters, too many spiders and snakes and crocodiles and everything that wants to eat you. Sure there is, there's loads. Been here for 10 months, can honestly say I have seen 3 snakes, 2 spiders that could kill me, and let's face it, the last person to die from a spider bite was probably about, I don't know, 1979, I think it was. I'm gonna have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure someone said it to me in the comments, so I'll double check that. And like I said, with the tropical climate, you do have to expect different creatures, such as crocodiles. Down here in the southwest, we don't have crocodiles, thank God. But yes, if you're going up into the northern territories and some of the east coast, then there are the risks of freshwater crocodiles, and they will eat you. They do not care. Most things are scared and just want to run away and leave us alone. Crocodiles are probably an exception to the rule, other than the fact of sharks. And I'll have to correct myself on this one, because I did say stupidly that 100% of attacks from sharks happen in the sea, which is not true. They happen in water. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, bull sharks do like to go up the rivers and have been known to attack people. So yeah, there's always that to watch out. One thing I didn't realise when I moved here is how hard it is to keep the houses warm in the winter. Obviously in the UK, we're equipped for the winter. Our houses are insulated, they have central heating and all that good stuff. But here in Australia, they're equipped for the more hot days, I suppose, because the majority of the time it is hot. So it makes sense, I guess. But when it's this weather and you're trying to keep your house warm, most people here have either got a nice little fireplace in the house, or this is rural, by the way, not in like Perth. You'll probably have more like aircon units, reverse aircon units, which is what I have in my house. But yeah, it takes a long time for it to warm the house up, and probably costs a lot of money. So the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is the education system. Now, this one is a bit of a tricky one, because like most things in life, it will vary whereabouts you are and what you want from life. So here in Australia, they have a good education system, but in terms of like on the world rankings where it is, the UK would be slightly better. And I think that comes down to the fact that in the UK, kids are pushed to be more academic, and I say pushed, kind of more like forced, if you like. It's a bit of a tricky one. I guess what I'm trying to say to you is that in the UK, it seems that they try and push everyone to become an accountant or a lawyer or a solicitor or something where you're going to be very, you know, you're going to need all those skills to be intellectually able to do the job. And I don't think that's realistic. I think society is made up of a lot of different kinds of people, and not everybody is going to be able to achieve those kind of jobs. Maybe they can, but maybe they're not all going to enjoy it and not want to go in that direction. Whereas here in Australia, they have certain schools that will cater for different areas. Agricultural schools, trade schools, and don't get me wrong, you can go to college and do all these sorts of things yourself in the UK, but here they're more catered, I guess, for school to sort of push you in the right direction of what you feel like your future is going to be. So the education system is very complicated, and I think I'm going to need longer in the video to do something about that. So what I'll do is I'll make a note and I'll make a video just purely based on the education system. On to the next one. I think one thing people definitely forget to tell you about the difference of the UK and Australia is that Australia is such a big country in terms of landmass, and you'll often find yourself driving for miles and miles and miles on end just to get to these nice places. So it kind of evens itself out in terms of fuel prices. Fuel prices are cheap here, they're like half the price of the UK, but you're going to use twice as much fuel just to get anywhere. So that's one thing you've got to be wary of. Even in the case of if you're living in the suburbs in Perth or somewhere in the city, they're not all built and stacked on top of each other, the houses. So a quick drive to the shops might be a long drive in terms of just popping to the shops. I guess one thing as well that is worth mentioning is the fact that if you do move here, do remember that flying to Australia is not exactly a cheap hobby. So yeah, flying to and from the UK is going to cost you a lot of money. So be mindful that if you do move here, you probably won't be going back and visiting as often as you would like, unless, you know, you're really lucky and you get some really good job that pays you a lot of pennies. But other than that, yeah, it's going to be one of those things where you're going to have to make do with seeing them probably once a year if you're lucky, maybe once every 2 years. So yes, just something to be mindful of. It pretty much is, you know, an entire day to get back to the UK, and not just the actual time of flying, the time difference, the jet lag, and everything you have to take into consideration when going back is draining. So yeah, just be prepared for that one, guys. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you watching, and yeah, if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to give the video a little like. It really helps the video out, helps me reach more people to help them with their move to Australia. Yeah, share it with your friends or family if anyone's looking at moving to Australia. This could really help them out. Lots of informational videos on my channel, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you on the next one. And also don't forget to jump over to Facebook and follow me there. I'll leave a link in the description below. Truck It Prowl. Thank you very much for watching, and bye bye.